Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby. The podcast is available bi-weekly where your favorite podcasts are found, including iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also get it from our website at scalemodelpodcast.com, where you can find show notes, photo gallery, and so much more. You can also subscribe to get notifications on all our updates, new episodes, and video content. Please support the Scale Model Podcast on Patreon. Patreon supporters enjoy early access to content and exclusive contests. Your Patreon support helps us to offset hosting and other costs to bring the podcast to you. Welcome to episode 118 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Cult TV Man, Sean's Custom Model Tools, and Return to Kit Form. I'm your host, Stuart, here on another beautiful Monday night when we're recording this. 29th of May already. My God, it's gone by quick. And I'm joined by my two regular partners in crime from the North Shore of Lake Erie, where construction is still going on, chores galore. For a guy who's retired, he's busier than ever. Mr. Jeff Hyland, how are you, sir?
I'm suffering great pain from all the work that you just described.
I know. Well, you are the cool father and the cool grandfather. Hopefully they will pick a nice home for you when it's done.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working towards.
Attaboy. Okay, and of course, from west of Chicagoland, where the sun is also shining as well, and we get the advanced look of if we're going to get crappy weather. Getting ready not quite in a panic yet, but I see the workbench is looking full. Mr. Terry Measley.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
It has indeed been dry and sunny.
It has. So, Mr. Terry Measley, 2 weeks to go to Wonderfest.
Yeah, less than.
Yeah, I know. You're getting busy.
2 weeks from now, I'll be home from Wonderfest.
I know. It's like I noticed one of our members, Dave Blappy Gertam, was showing his workbench as he's rapidly getting stuff ready. So
yeah, I wish I had space that I could do an arc light on my bedroom, on my workbench.
Yeah, I know. So you know what?
Speaking of Dave, Dave is going to be helping us out this year with a few things. He's doing a gloss finishes demo at Wonderfest for us.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah. The demo schedule is completely full.
Completely full.
Yeah, with one exception on the figures model side, but I wasn't recruiting for that. So
that's all right.
For those of our listeners who aren't necessarily familiar with Dave's work, he's the one who did a Falke, Machine and Krieger Falke in Gulf racing colors. Mm-hmm. That was absolutely pristine. Beautiful color, and he did a GT40 in the same colors. Yes. I mean, his quality of gloss finish is probably, there's very few that can beat it.
Yeah,
exactly. There's Lauren Peterson is up in the theaters at that same time, but I probably will stick around and listen to Dave's talk.
Well, yeah, I know, and he's done quite a few things in golf markings now. We wind him up every time he has a new kit. Oh, are you going to do it in golf markings?
Well, of course he is. Well, every time he makes one, every time he does
pickup too.
I know.
Every time he does a kit in golf markings, he wins an award at a contest.
I know, exactly. So yeah, June 10th and 11th, Louisville, Kentucky.
I would like just to stay on the demos on the vehicle side. Yeah. We have got a bunch of first time contributors this time. I've given talks almost every year since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And it's not really passing the torch, but it's like there are other guys who do phenomenal work.
Yeah.
Will Barton's been doing a great bunch of stuff. I got him and Scott Michael doing one on cleaning up 3D prints. So we got several of them on making the files and printing and all that, but I really wanted someone to show us how to clean these things up.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be awesome. So 33rd year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Lots of amazing, the vendor room, of course, good. Tons of awesome sponsors, amazing figure models. Our sponsor of the podcast, Cult TV Man, Lockhart, Badger, Tag Team Hobbies. We're good friends with them. Iwata and Fine Scale Modeler. They're all going to be there. Make sure if you see Terry, I believe Anthony Goodman's going to be there as well. Make sure
Anthony will be.
Make sure you reach out and say hi.
Yeah, we'll be traveling down in Neil's truck this time.
Oh boy, there you go, road trip. The Canadian Embassy will be there. Probably, not everyone likes the cigars, but
Follow the haze.
Yeah,
Yes.
follow the haze and the socialist companionship that we bring down there in the States. So, all right, check that out. So, also speaking of winning shows and stuff like that, we just had a show up here, Torcan, which is put on by the Peel Scale Modelers. They did a amazing show just this weekend. Our local club did quite well. I think they had almost 700 models on the table. Our local chapter president, Frank, under his model logger account, he did an absolute ton of photos, an absolute ton. And I've got the link there to the Facebook page. It'll be in the show notes. And again, the quality is always just amazing. I hear the stores the vendors did quite well as always. Jeff and I didn't go. We were good.
Blew my brains out at Heritage Con. What can I say?
Exactly. Then we've got our own show coming up in a short few months. But again, just some amazing builds that were at the table. Good comradeship, all that good stuff. So definitely check those out. Congrats to Peel Scale Modeler on another amazing show. The next big show, I think, in our neck of the woods coming up is going to be our show.
Probably.
Yeah.
Big show anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be fun. So yeah, definitely check that out. And that's from the show side. And let me just continue here. So as always, with the mailbag, we always want to hear from you. Let us know if you have any comments and suggestions. scalemodelpodcast@gmail.com. We did get quite a bit of mail, but we'll talk about that during our first interview. So let's just go right on with the latest hobby announcements, because it may be summer coming up, but my God, people keep releasing things, and a lot of nice things. So first one, a new company, Red Pill Models. They're going to be releasing a new 1/32 scale F4B Phantom. New tooling, very high level of detail. They just show the front end for now, but even the canopy sections in that, it looks pretty nice. I'm not a Phantom guy, so I don't know if it's accurate, but man, does it look nice.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Just looking at these. Oh.
Yeah. Early 2024. It's a long time since we've had an F4B in this particular scale. And it's a big beastie. So keep that in mind. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of Phantom fanatics who are just really looking.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the parts breakdown on that canopy.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You get the framing in the glass.
Yeah. And all the mirrors.
Really helps though.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and also this might make some other people happy, particularly Corsair fanatics, 1/48 scale. Magic Factory's coming out with the early F4U 1A-2 in 1/48 scale. But what's interesting, this is a dual combo. So you'll actually get two kits of this, and you can build them in both variations. So they've got some updated box art and CAD renderings from our friends at the Modeling News. It's going to be a limited edition. So yeah, this looks very nice as well. They show the CAD views and stuff like that. So again, up to now, I guess the pinnacle has always been the Tamiya kit. It always just fell together. It's the one I built. And they've got the detailed rivets, panel lines. It's like a bit of stress skin. The engine looks absolutely gorgeous. Gun bays you can build open and closed, etc. 4 different schemes. Two for each of the aircraft supplied in the box. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun too. So yeah, some photo etch.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see these.
Yeah, nice cockpit masks. Yeah, I figured you would be. Both types of canopies.
Yeah, that's exceptionally well done.
Yeah. So
from 44, I'd like to see some of the really early ones.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can backdate them back to the beginning of the war.
You never know if they do popular with this, right? We always say if they're popular, they'll go back. Okay, next up in a little bit smaller scale, Mung's got a brand new tool, M1A2 Abrams Test 1, Test 2 tank on the way. So again, 1/72 scale. Good for gaming and all that. 140 millimeters by 61 millimeters. Still a big beast in that scale. So this is the updated one. This is the Test Means Tank Urban Survival Kit. Includes added-on armor against chemical, energy armor, piercing projectiles, bulletproof steel and glass shields to protect the commander and loader hatches, and a coaxial mounted heavy machine gun mounted on the main gun. Apparently, it's really helped in those urban situations. So again, looks like a nice looking kit. And again, this is 1/72. This is wow. I'd go blind building this, but
well,
September release.
We got a few guys in our club who have been. I mean, they're armor builders, and they've been delving into 1/72 kits like Frank and doing great work. So
there's some great guys.
He's gonna go nuts. He's going nuts with this.
Mm-hmm. The Lincoln length track, nice and easy to assemble there. I see that, only a couple of parts. So you're not having to put together 300 little track pieces in 72nd. Mung's not that cruel to you.
No, it looks a simplified build, which is suitable for this.
Yeah. Okay. And more, and I figured sooner or later something was going to happen like this. Porter Models, they've been talking about having a B5 and Kate in 1/35th scale. They've released some other stuff from the European theater in the 1/35th scale, kind of good for making dioramas. Well, this is an interesting one. This comes with the, this is going to have the Akagi bridge with the flight deck, and a Kate, possibly. With the B5 Nakajima and Kate test shot build. So it sounds like there might be everything's going to come. It's going to be the B5N2 bomber and the Akagi deck and tower.
Wow.
No release dates yet. But we did talk about, I think we talked about this last show or the show before. And again, this poster was at the Shizuoka Hobby Show. So yeah.
This looks really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. Given the way these you're getting these turret kits and now an island kit, in due course you'll be able to build an entire 1/35th scale something or other.
It seems like that's where they're going.
I heard from our friends out of Australia, because On the Bench just did their recording a couple of days ago, and they talked about this, and they were joking about, maybe someone will build a 1/35th Akagi. It would be like larger than a small boat.
If they did an elevator or something. I'd probably buy that.
Yeah, that'll again even make people say, see, they're going to do it step by step. Well, what's funny though, we have started to see, like if you go to certain clubs and SIGs and shows, people have done that. I see it in the Far East where people will do a 1/72nd scale carrier, and everyone as the group build contributes models to it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely. I think.
How long before they go the D'Agostini subscription? Business model where you get a piece, a little bit of an aircraft carrier each month until eventually you have a 35th scale Akagi that your wife wonders where the hell you're going to put that thing.
Yeah, exactly. You basically have to send in proving that you're single, you're not married.
And then you got to go, I didn't mention the air wing.
Well, the whole monthly subscription approach does help to sort of sneak the kit into the house a little bit.
I don't know. I think eventually they will catch on. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know.
So the island here does not have the futon armor, but it's only a matter of time before that gets 3D printed up.
Or the
not that you
armor,
can't do it
with
with epoxy putty. You could do it, but
But that looks.
Yeah,
it'll be 3D printed for sure. Somebody will come up with it
in zero time.
Yeah.
They'll probably offer it as an added
add-on bonus. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be like Qatari, where they say, if you sign up early for the kit, then we'll give you this little addition.
Yep.
All right, moving on, we have our good friends at Geico Models. Here's one I don't think we've seen much for figures before. Scenes from rural Vietnam. So these are various stuff you can do in your Vietnam diorama. So you've got, you've got farming in Vietnam. So a water buffalo and 2 farmers on plows. One of the beasts lying down where the other one is hardest up on the plow. What else here? There's also a similar set with a lady with the water buffalo and some sort of stalks or some sort of stork. Sorry,
that's an egret.
Egret sitting on top of the back of a water buffalo in the water. We then have Vietnamese children, puppy and water buffalo set. So 2 kids and and a puppy on top of two buffalo. And then we've got a farmer, cattle, and cart set. So
I'm not sure how well you work into this with a diorama, but I applaud the effort.
You never know,
kind of cool,
right? You never know what's up, but but hey, the fact that they're they're willing to do it, I think that's going to be I think it's going to be an awesome idea. So, all right, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yes, Storm Factory. We've mentioned some previous releases from them. 2 more F5 Tigers. In this case, an F5E and an F5F, both from the South Korean Air Force. I believe these are their aggressor squadrons, so at least the F5E. So big 1/32nd scale, but that size, it's a small aircraft, so you can get away with that with 1/32. And then the F5F is a dual seater.
I just love the look of this plane. Always have.
Oh yeah, it's just a nice plane. It's
a sports car. It looks like a sports car.
Exactly, and what is it we say? MiG-28s. No one's ever been this close before.
Yeah,
Top Gun, so
yeah,
so kind of neat. Again, I know there's a lot of people who like them. So, okay. Also moving on. Well, this is from our good friends at the Modeling News. Red Fox Studio has some quick set 3D interior decal sets, some more new ones, again with this 3D printing.
Hey, I do want to call back to these F5s. I scrolled down. At the very bottom, the first batch of the kits will have a bonus 3D printed exhaust nozzles included.
There you go.
So we're seeing some more of this, little incentives.
Incentives.
I think that's good. You think you definitely need it. So, okay. Red Fox Studio, yes, more of the 3D printed, internal acrylic detail sets. Just gorgeous. Look at some of these pictures. They've got the F-35A, the Eurofighter, a 109 G10. It looks like they've got possibly 2 different scales for the F-35.
Yeah, 1/32nd, 1/48.
Yeah, so you're well covered
these
there.
Are cool.
Yeah.
If you have a chance, go check out their website. They've got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place.
I'm going to have to go here. I was avoiding the other major producer of this because of the hostilities in Europe. But these guys are Hungary, so
these guys are Hungarian.
They're Hungarian, and you can also they're also there's also Eduard is doing a range now too.
Yes.
So
look at these things. Oh my God.
I know.
They're stunning.
I know. It's a dangerous. I even got you to skill mates yet. You're already
I must have these.
Yeah. Why aren't they doing them for Valkyries? Damn it.
Damn it. I know, exactly.
4D scale Valkyries. Come on.
Yep. Yeah, some 3D sets and all that. So some and you know what? Some of the pictures that are in here, that are in this article, they've got are pretty cool.
The F-35 stuff is just really interesting.
I know.
It's kind of jaw-dropping, really. And to your point, Terry, I mean, frankly, I would have thought a Valkyrie detail set like this would sell in gangbusters.
Well, the 48th, there was a company doing really nice photo etch sets for Valkyries in 72nd and in 48th. And the other ones, the YF-19 such, that was Jasmine Studios. And I dressed up the YF-19 with a lot of good stuff. And it looked fantastic. I don't think so.
That's a shame. If not, we'll have to.
It was one dude over in I don't know in Japan probably.
Hang on, Jasmine's no. The only one I have here is Jasmine, a Safari extension for a keyboard experience for your Mac and iPad. No, I don't think that's it. Sadly. All right. Anyway, that's a shame. There we go. Hint for someone. Just saying. You heard it here first. All we want is 1% of the profits.
No, we'll take points.
I'll do it in kind. I'll just take a copy of it.
Yeah,
exactly. Take a copy.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, Terry and I will take copies for our Walgreens. We have enough of them. 72nd, please, though, too. Okay, moving on. Oh, yeah, news from Special Hobbies. Again, I love Special Hobbies because they send me regular newsletters. It's not all on Facebook. And you know what? Just like Eduard, they'll kind of talk to you behind the scenes about what's going on. So in their May newsletter, they also talked about, as we've already announced before, the May newsletter not just brings the usual information on the release model and sets, but also their adjusted prices, not just the usual price increase. No, we have changed the prices both ways and up. If there's an increase, it's usually by a mere 10%, while the reduction can be up to 25%. And it's basically, we do believe the price reduction of the older sets might have an impact on their sale. On the other hand, the price increase of new models is not any isn't drama. It's mostly covering the skyrocketing prices of energy and raw materials. So, they're honest, but they tell you behind the scenes. I love these guys, for that. So if we go to that first page, we have the first Swedish-made jet, the Saab J AR-21. Look at all the rockets on this thing. Doesn't that look awesome? Like a vampire on steroids. Cool. It looks cool. A J3 Cub in 148. I think we've talked about that before. A Potek, I think it's Polish, right? A
Yes.
POTEZ 25A2
Potes,
version. Yeah, biplane. It was one of the most widely used of the 20s and 30s, not just for the French Air Force and Navy, and it was exported to many other countries. So yeah, and then of course masks for their various things. And then what do they have here? Oh, well, this is an interesting one here. Go down a bit. Engine compartment ventilation. Like engine test bay or something?
No, PT579. Is it for a torpedo boat? Is this the ventilator?
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right.
Torpedo boat?
Yes, it just occurred to me. Yes, for the Revell kit. Yes, 172nd.
Ah.
Yes, very good, Terry. Well done. Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
And look at the exhausts in 30-second scale.
I know, they're amazing. They're amazing. And a flamethrower.
I know.
Yeah, I was going to mention the flamethrower. Yeah, they have that. A bunch of Soviet assault rifles. How about an Africa Corps soldier riding a camel?
Yeah, I spotted these on the last week.
Yeah, they were kind of cool.
Scale mates.
And of course, I have to mention this: the Seafire. It's going to be coming soon. They've got a FR Mark 46 and 172nd. They're featuring box art. I've got a link to the box art and do some of the decal schemes. That's a nice looking Seafire. 1946 with the 6-bladed propeller. This will have to eventually make its way into my stash. Build it, who knows? But if they do a 48, even better. But anyway, I had to mention that one too, because again, I like the fact that they don't just use social media. They have the newsletters to the customer. They talk about behind the scenes, and you can't go wrong with that. And again, the box art's gorgeous. All right, scale mates, full kits, new tools. March 28th. So this one here should really be add-ons. They've got a bunch of stuff on the Arsenal. It's a bunch of 3D printed stuff for your 1/400 ships from Heller. And stuff like that. They really should have put that as one of full kits, but hey, we'll talk about it. A T90 and 1-144. What else? Full kits March 27th, a T90A from a company out of China. Let's see here, a Demon Slayer from Bandai Spirits.
More Bandai Spirit stuff.
Lots of Bandai
Spirits. Nezuko.
Hey, a Pokemon. Groudon from Bandai Spirit. So your grandkids into Pokemon, Jeff? Maybe they'll know what that is.
Oh my God, they're insane about it.
Hey, you want to get them into a model? Hey, here we go.
It's on my list.
There you go. Copper State Models. I love their armored cars. They have an Austin First Series coming out, as well as a British motorcycle, the Triumph Model H.
But look at red iron models with a big old steamroller.
You gotta love it.
Nice.
You gotta love it. Exactly. Moving on to the 24th, some more Gundams. Oh yeah, I had to mention these on the build night last week. D models out of I'm not sure where they're from, but 1/35th scale. Okay, you've got a 274 millimeter railway gun, French railway gun, and a British 12-inch howitzer. I think those things are going to be huge. And then also, I believe it's a German one, but it's not on a railway thing, but it's still going to be big, right? Yeah, big. And then of course, a car I would love in real life if I was stupidly rich. From Alpha model, the Porsche 911 992 GT3 RS. 0 to stupid in no time at all, I'm sure.
You should price that out. I mean, the real one, not this one.
Yeah, well, the one I priced out certainly wouldn't have been this one. It was a $250,000 by the time we talked about that last week on the build night.
Exactly.
In a beautiful midnight blue. But like I said, it would have to be my stupid lottery win. Yeah. What else we got?
Let's get two. One for you and one for Alicia.
No, well, one for her to smack into, right? That's
Right.
the running joke. Yeah, because she says she's not allowed to be near that. I'll have to get a separate garage in another continent to go over and play with it. What else here? Looks like an updated Flysure Stork, or not? No, Flysure FI-167 from the Croatian Air Force, 1/72nd scale. Oh, look, another Tiger from Hobby Boss, 1/16th.
So many tigers.
So many tigers. A bunch of the stuff from May the 20th. These are all paper models. Because I looked up the funny scale.
Okay.
133 and like 1/200. Yeah, these are all paper models.
Interesting.
Yep. What else here? Oh, a civilian plane.
It's like some cool subjects.
Yeah. And an Oster J. So yeah, that's pretty well all the stuff. Oh, unless you want an a baby tank of a Holt HA-36 from World War One.
Yeah. U.S. baby tank.
Baby tank. Baby tank. Yeah.
Is the one underneath it also a baby tank that bends the cod?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a very weird.
I don't know. Maybe I have no idea.
Yeah.
Looks pretty funky though. Yeah. Looks like an armored car. Got a Vickers machine gun.
I think it is an armored car.
Yeah, it looks like an armored car, possibly a mock-up. Who knows? Hang on, let me imagine if we had something like Google to search that name. Yes, so it's a Russian. The first true tank to be developed in the Russian Empire. It was the first true tank. It means anything, anywhere goer. And in modern Russian means all-terrain vehicle. Anywhere it didn't progress further than the pre-production model due to problems with the design. Oh, it's very tiny if I go to the Wikipedia page. Only 10 horsepower engine, did 26.5 miles an hour. Very small, looks like one man.
That's pretty good for a 26 horsepower engine.
Yeah, I know. Right? I wonder if that's it going downhill and being shot at.
Yeah, it must be.
All right, so that's all the stuff from our good friends at ScaleMates. Jeff's got his shopping list. So our job here is done. So, well, let's not quite all of it. Let's hear what our good friend Steve has, coming soon to Wonderfest. Steve at Cult TV Man. Here we go.
Lots of exciting things at Cult TV Man this time. As you know, Wonderfest is coming up very, very soon. First of all, he's going to have a Cult TV Man glass with King Kong Cobra. This is a cola that Steve's daughter gave him last year for Christmas, and it was really, really good. So he'll have a small number of bottles at the show to sell. The taste is mellow and sweet. He's only going to have it at Wonderfest. Rick Sternbach helped convert the logo into a printable graphic for them. And of course, he's going to be there at Wonderfest as well. So make sure you check that out. Also, they're going to have the Monarch Go Fly and the Glow in the Dark edition, and the upcoming Moon Suit and Styrocanosaurus kit, as well as the 2001 Dr. Bowman 2nd edition green helmet from Executive Replicas. This is from 2001 A Space Odyssey, so they're going to have that there, and you'll be able to purchase that online. As well, new Aztec dummy paint masks for the 350th AMT Klingon Bird of Prey. They're already listed on the site, and they're going to be available after the show, so you can pre-order them now. Makes painting up your bird of prey a lot easier. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. And also, there'll be another new kit announcement from Dolan Hall Hobby GA. They'll be announcing a new kit for late in 2023. If you recall, last time they announced the C-Lab, the C-Lab 3 actually, still in development, but it's going to be available hopefully at the end of 2023. So definitely check them out, and of course, lots of goodies at the store. Make sure you, if you're at Wonderfest, you stop by their booth, say hi to Steve, and don't forget, tell him the Scale Model Podcast sent you.
All right. Yep. Another great thing. We're looking forward. I know Terry and company are looking forward to seeing Steve's booth down there. We'll say hi to him on behalf of the podcast and thank him as always.
Yep.
Hey, this is an interview I know a lot of people are waiting to hear. This is Dave Lockhart from IPMS USA. He's the president. We were going to have him on in a couple of weeks to talk about NATS, but some stuff blew up over the weekend. And you know what? We're just going to go right into the interview and we'll let him explain. So here we go. Welcome back to the interview section of the Scale Model Podcast. And this time we're really pleased to have a very special guest from IPMS USA, namely the president, and maybe I'll say president, chief bottle washer, all the other duties is assigned, Mr. David Lockhart. How are you tonight, David?
Very good. I appreciate the opportunity of being here, and it's nice to actually have a face to a podcast.
Well, we always say we have a face. We have faces for radio, so we won't go too far there. And I know you had a chance to talk to our Australian friends, so we're going to be talking about gnats in a little bit. Lots of Davids around in our industry too. So I'm just going to read the bio that you provided. You live in Duluth, Georgia. It's 40 miles northeast of Atlanta. Prior to his retirement, which I'm very jealous of, I was in diagnostic microbiology sales. I started building models young, around the age of 9 or 10. I modeled until college, and like many, college, marriage, career, kids, put a bit of hold on modeling. I started back when the kids got into middle school and they started ignoring dad. Probably insulting dad too. Yeah,
probably both.
And annoying.
Yes.
And annoying, yeah.
Since then, mutually exclusive.
Yeah, since then you've been going full steam ahead. You're a bit of an eclectic modeler. We all build ships, planes, sci-fi. My favorite models are sailing ships. You're finishing up a couple of chapter products, a Panther tank, and we'll get back to finishing my Revell 196 Constitution. You've also provided some pictures, which we're going to throw in the show notes there. And I love is that an Nantucket lightship you've got there?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's an old Lindbergh kit.
Okay, I thought I recognized it. Yeah, so we'll have those.
That's nice.
Yeah, we'll have those in the show notes at scalemodelpodcast.com. So one of the reasons, because I was going to get you on in a couple of weeks anyway to talk about gnats, but as the president, you occasionally do op-ed pieces in the IPMS Journal, and
yes, I do.
I think it would be an understatement to say you've had an interesting couple of days. I think we can safely say that. So you basically did a op-ed which came out in the journal, and people started arriving into people's mailboxes. It was kind of an opinion piece, and it kind of blew up. I guess the best way we can say it. So I'm going to turn it over to you if you want to just briefly summarize what you said and what's happened since then, and then we're going to ask you some questions.
Sure. Well, as we said earlier, what I wanted to say and how I said it did not come out the right way. Mm-hmm. And one thing I've learned about this is that, my wife is a wonderful editor, but she doesn't really understand what I'm writing. She just does the grammatical stuff. So I think going forward, any column I have, I'm going to pass it by some of the guys on the board. Because I can have an opinion, but I represent the board and all of IPMS USA. So obviously, if I say something that's very controversial, it's going to affect everybody.
Yeah.
Which I did. And you brought up a good point earlier. My main point was to have people become part of IPMS USA and to contribute to IPMSA. And like you said, if it's going out in the journal, they're already in IPMS USA. So I missed the mark on who it was going out to. And it obviously bothered a lot of people. I really apologize for that. I was a little taken aback because I don't understand the whole social media stuff. I'm an old guy. I do Facebook only to see my kids' pictures. But what I realized is that the organization is growing to the point where it's very much on the internet, on social media. So it's something that I need to learn more about and have my board help me with and other people. But this is what the future of modeling is going to be. It's not just going to be sitting in a chapter meeting or going to a show, but there's going to be lots of stuff on Facebook, lots of stuff on Instagram or TikTok or whatever the platforms are. So one needs to be very cognizant that this goes out to a lot of people. And lesson learned, I still have a lot to learn about it. And I certainly have worked hard to work in IPMS, and I want to continue to.
Well, and I think you should be complimented because you did respond quickly, which is always important. And again, you're already saying that, you're going to be running stuff by your board, and I think that never hurts. I was president of my local IPMS chapter here for the last couple of years during COVID. And, anytime I didn't have a case where I had to think about something controversial, it's always a good idea. Run it by someone else. It's like, never call back someone when you're angry, sort of thing. So what I was going to wonder first from the original thing, was part of this to do with the lack of people stepping up to volunteer in both at the club level, at the show level? Because I think all organizations, and we've seen it up here in Canada and elsewhere, there does seem to be, sometimes it's always a trouble. If we look at the executive nominations for your organization, I believe even for IPMS Canada, there was basically only one person interested in each position. So do you think part of that was going back to that?
I think a little bit. Obviously, it's much better to ask people to participate, if you're nice to them and say nice things rather than beating them over the head with a stick. And maybe being an old man and being a little grumpy sometimes it did not behoove me very well. Maybe it's my Massachusetts upbringing, which... if you know anybody from Massachusetts, we can be a little rough.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Direct.
And never mind.
Correct. Yes.
And never mind your hockey team sucks, but that's a whole other story.
Whoa.
Hey, I'm a Leaf fan. I'm long suffering, so
So it's my poor attempt of getting people to be more participatory. But what I've realized is that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to participate by being there physically. You can be there, even being an IPMS member is a big support. So everybody who's a member, I truly appreciate their membership and you are supporting it. But we're going into a new phase in all of this. And, there's going to be a lot of virtual things, and there's going to be, the podcasts, which I never had growing up as a kid. That I find extremely valuable. There's going to be YouTube videos. So there's going to be a lot of ways that people can contribute, and they don't have to be at a meeting, because there's a lot of members that we have in our organization that live in very remote areas.
Yes.
And I'm sorry if they thought I was slamming them, but I wasn't. But, there's got to be a way for them to be able to participate or contribute and to be of value if they want to. So, there's things that we have to learn how to do. And one of my goals going forward is I would like to have maybe 4 or 5 regional Zoom calls for people that are in the middle of nowhere or remote locations, that they can come and have a monthly meeting. I mean, we did it during COVID. We had monthly meetings in COVID, and Zoom worked extremely well. So let's take that to people who are out in remote areas and let them actually be able to participate, virtually.
Yeah, it's an excellent idea. One of the things, it's one of the things we did as a club here in Canada during COVID, and we still do virtual build nights. But one of the other things I found that was interesting is, again, you've heard of the show Wonderfest, which we're great supporters
Yes.
of. They did the first year of COVID. They had to cancel at the last minute. So they actually did a virtual show, online, called WandaFest. And they had people contribute pictures. But what was the thing I found most interesting coming out of that? There was a lot of people who entered kits. And again, either due to distance or they've got social anxiety or all that, they were able to participate. And it's something like, for example, our local group, we live stream our meetings. We have a separate membership tier for people who can't make it. So I think COVID's definitely helped bring that forward. And I think that's an awesome thing to think about. And, you do have people both on your board and within your ranks, and within the modeling community. Because as you say, the internet's just changed our hobby. And I look back to the National Model Railway Association. They had a new guy come in, Gordy, and he's done that as well. Like they're very much a lot of virtual stuff, and because again, you're not going to fight it, and especially with as you say, us older guys, we're eventually gonna go to the great hobby shop in the sky. And the younger modelers, whether they're Gundam or sci-fi or aircraft or that, they're finding other ways. So, and it's a challenge, I think, with IPMS organizations everywhere. They're going to have to come up with what's relevant.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, yeah, you've already kind of answered my next question, which was, you talked about you don't have much experience with social media, and I basically had, do you plan to make changes to the communication policy? You've mentioned that, with respect to social media and communications, to better align with the reality of social media. It sounds like you've seen that now. And again, I think, definitely more ways to get the word out is awesome.
Well, we one of the goals in our board, and we discussed it, is that we're going to have a social media director position.
Good.
Within our board. I mean, IPMS is growing in places that, like an old guy like me, an older generation, doesn't really understand too much, or doesn't know where to go. So, it's a very powerful tool that we can reach out to other modelers. And we really value one thing about this whole episode and I have been reading all the Facebook comments, good or bad, is that, everybody has an opinion, everybody has suggestions, and we want to be sure that we value them all, and we want people to let us know what's interesting them, what's bothering them, what suggestions they have, because we're not just an 8-member board that is an ivory tower. We're modelers just like everybody else. And the organization is not going to be successful unless we get input from everybody.
Exactly.
The
Jeff,
one thing I will say, Dave, is for all the challenges you've had in the last couple of days, I have to bet that your column has inspired more discussion about IPMS than anything in the last 10 years. So there has been a lot of dialogue. There has been a lot of ideas being shared, and so, definitely there are probably some things that could have been said differently, but at the end of the day, there's a big discussion going on now, so not so bad.
Yeah, I think it's opening eyes, especially for myself and maybe others, that there's a lot of people out there that really are passionate about their hobby, passionate about IPMS, and we've got to tap into that. There's a saying, any news is good news, but you want to have good, any news is news, or whatever the saying is.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, that's it. But you want to, I think coming out of this, I'm going to be a better understanding person about this, and hopefully that the membership will understand that we're here and we want to hear from them, whether they're on the board or whether they live in the middle of a very remote area.
And I think there's opportunities for everyone to participate in different ways, whether it's like you say, going to a show, a Zoom meeting, and as I said, I'm going to send you some links when we're done, just some of the comments I found it most interesting, and I think it's worth you and the board reading. Anyway, so hopefully you'll find that you'll find that helpful as well. One of the other things I found was, and again, here's something just because I think it would be a good thing to promote, because up until yesterday, I had no idea it existed. And I've talked to some other people and they didn't. And that's the review section on the IPMS website. I had no idea this existed. I've never seen it under a search engine. And it is an absolute, treasure chest of information. It's updated very, very a lot. Currently there goes back to 2009. And it's massive. It's huge. And it's a good resource that, in my own personal opinion, it's underutilized. So I'm sure your social media coordinator and, when they come on board, there's something there you can really, I think, really advertise, because that's something I had no idea that existed. And
our first vice president, Phil Peters, is in charge of a review board. He's done a superb job.
Yeah.
And like you said, unless you know where to go to see it,
yeah,
it's on the website, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going onto the website.
People use search now, basically, David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also that's a perfect sort of thing to cross post into other groups and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great idea because your social media can be part of everything. So Starship Modeler, post science fiction reviews on that site. It's an open page.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that was what was interesting to me reading a lot of the commentary. Some of them were just diatribes, frankly, but most of them were thoughtful pieces where they listed the issues that they've had with IPMS USA or IPMS in general. And I thought one of the things that came back was, okay, the whole point about IPMS now is how is it relevant in this modern age? It was formed in 1963, 64, and that was a magazine era. That was before Fine Scale Modeler, and now we're in an electronic era. So there's a whole different way of communicating with members or people who could potentially be members. And maybe that's something that needs to be brought to the fore. Now, this issue, because I didn't know about this review thing until Stuart brought it to my attention 10 minutes ago. That's part of the issue is if people don't know what you're doing, then they don't have a way of measuring the value of IPMS. That in itself is a useful thing. I think it's kind of like toot your own horn. We need to do that a little bit more here in Canada as well.
Because I've been getting a lot of email from people when I announced we were going to have you on, and again, basically very similar to the comments you're reading on Facebook. Why and why not their members? And it's a challenge. I know some of the groups in Europe. I think IPMS Malta and Italy have really moved forwards on that. But again, we see it up here too. We're slowly trying to move forward in Canada on that because again. One of the things when I introduced the podcast is with my other co-host who couldn't join us tonight, Anthony. He spent quite a bit of time over in Japan, and people particularly in North America don't realize how big the market is. Like you inevitably have some of these gatekeepers, and as I like to say, the old farts who don't understand the Gundams, but they don't realize how big. Like a Gundam run could be 100,000 kits. Where Tamiya's aircraft could be 10,000, and they'll sell out those 100. People don't realize, and that was part of the reason I started the podcast because I wanted people to be more aware of. There's more things. We've got a young lad now just started in our club, and he's building aircraft, but he also likes the Gundam and stuff like that. And we are truly in the golden age of the hobby. But the thing is, it evolves, and regular listeners know I chirp about this quite a bit. The hobby's evolving. It's not dying, it's evolving. And I think the organizations have to move with it too. And as you say, the internet's brought so much into it. I think that's what you're going to see. Do you think also, and I think in terms of the organization, I think it's good you're thinking from the social media aspect, but do you think it's time to actually have a deep dive and look into the whole thing?
Absolutely. And I have a terrific board, and we're doing the same thing. I mean, we want to, like you said, not change, but evolve our organization. And one thing about this past few days is you realize that there's a lot of power to the membership. They have a lot of input, and they can really help us. And we really have tried to be as transparent. We want to make it more transparent. We did a new constitution and bylaws, which for many it's just a boring document. But that's really where
I'm a lawyer, damn it.
Jeff lives
I know, but that really, we trying to give a lot of to the membership on input on things. That it's not just the 8 of us or a few people here that do it, but it's really the membership that decides. So, and it's interesting you mentioned Gundam because we're trying to expand into that realm. We're trying to attract people. They had a real success at the Northwest Scale Models show up in Seattle.
Yep.
And then we have Commie Fest, which is in Denver.
Yep.
So we want to bring in people like that, but you're not going to bring them in like we did with the other guys. So
it's different. It's different.
It's very different. So we're going to really work hard to try to expand and encourage these people to become part of us.
Well, and one of the things. Sorry, go ahead, Terry.
No, it's a different, maybe a little different culture, but it's a new culture.
Yep.
And it's one that don't realize necessarily that this whole environment exists.
Yeah.
Right? And it's tough for an organization not to become complacent,
right,
and slowly dwindle down and die.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of clubs, that happens. People move out, and now you're half the size.
Yeah.
How do you get more of them? And how you get more of them is reaching out, and that's a lot of work. It's and a lot of trying to figure out what it is. But you got to meet people where they are,
right,
to bring them into your fold.
Well, and we should also indicate the challenge is, it is all these organizations, they're volunteer run. Other than Marie at the national office, everything's a volunteer position, right?
Yep.
And Marie does a fantastic job, and she has to put up a lot with the boys, but we all know who's in charge.
Yeah.
We get
exactly.
But no, it's essentially all a volunteer position. It's the same thing. We've had conversations up here in IPMS Canada. We have a running joke. One of our, we have several people on the executive over the years who've been local members, and there used to be rumors going around that people's IPMS Canada dues were funding trips down to nationals for the executive and stuff like that. So we have a running joke now with one of our guys who's on the executive. I said, okay, no buying a Ferrari with my fee. I just paid my fee. But we're all volunteers. We all do this for the love. And, as I've said to some people too over the years, if you don't like it, then you got to get involved. I realize not everyone can, but I think it's important that you're not just seeing, as Jeff said, you're not just seeing people complaining, but you're seeing people.
Yes.
This is the issue I have, but this is maybe what you can try and do to make it better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think it's this, even though it's probably not ideally how you wanted to spend your weekend, but I think this could be an important catalyst. Because I think there's a lot more people out there, both members and non-members, who can see that, hey, there's something here. Maybe we need to look at it and review it. And as I said, you're definitely not the only groups going through this.
Right. Well, also, and I talked to John Bonanni, who you know well.
That character, John. Yeah, we don't talk to him much. He won he won the podcast competition this year.
He is dead to me. He is dead to me.
Yeah, no, we're kidding. John's a good guy.
Now, is that the Moosaroo?
That's the Moosaroo Cup. Yeah.
Okay.
Our armor guy builds a plane and he bloody well wins. It's a fix-in. Anyway,
but he had a good point talking with him. I mean, we have 4,500 members in our organization.
Yep.
But there's thousands and thousands and thousands more modelers out there.
Oh yeah.
That aren't part of IPMS.
Mm-hmm.
That we want to. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to join, but we want to tap into.
Yep.
And we want to let them, let them know about the shows and things like that. And so there's a lot of people out there that we need to reach out to and share our hobby with, and if we can be a benefit to them.
Well, and I think this is something that the podcasting community, all the podcasts, we support it. We all want to just get the word out about this amazing hobby. And it's the same thing with like people who run the various YouTube channels and stuff like that, who have tens of thousands of subscribers, all over the world. And it's amazing when I think I can have a conversation with someone in Australia, and like Dave's been up to Canada twice over the last few years. I've been able to meet with him at one point. He's been down to Nats, him and the lads.
Yep.
And he's hoping to make it to Wisconsin next year, as am I. So I think it's, there's definitely, it doesn't have to be a regional thing now. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
So Dave, I hear Obviously, the next big item is going to be Nats coming up. Are you going to be opening having a kissing booth or something there, something like that?
No, I was going to tell Len Pilhofer to have a dunking booth there.
Yep.
That would raise a hell of a lot, I'm afraid, my friend.
Yeah. It will be interesting, and I have no problems running through the gauntlet. I find most 99% of these guys are great guys, and it'll be interesting, and I hope they come up to me and say, well, I didn't like your column, but this is the things I want to talk to you about. And that's what I'm there for.
What you might want to do there, here's a suggestion, maybe have a couple of roundtables, like just between, with you or maybe a couple of the other board members, and just over a beer. You don't have to have 30 people, but maybe like 12 people if people are, and have some constructive criticism. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea either, since you've got everyone up there anyway. So, even that troublemaker, John.
What I took from a lot of the comments is that your opinion piece didn't create these issues. They were there before. They just surfaced them. A lot of people were having specific historical or the personal complaints about their experiences with IPMS, either chapters or the rules or the categories or old school versus new school. Some pretty core categories of complaints that have been there forever, and your opinion piece triggered them and brought them all to the fore. So it's an opportunity. It really, as Stuart says, it's an opportunity to hey, let's talk about this, because obviously this organization, as you say, it's a member-driven organization, and if we can go in a different direction, or if there are things we can improve on, well, then we should be talking about that and working in those directions. So.
And again, us as podcasters, as you know, in the past, you've had other podcasters, they do their countdown to Nats and stuff like that. We're all on board with that. We love it because it brings us listeners too. It brings you guys potential business. So I think there's a good thing to be had. So speaking of Nats, so I think we'll move on now. We'll take you off the hot seat. I'll turn off the hot seat for you, my friend.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so yeah, we've been talking about Nats. I hear it's like a tiny little show somewhere down in Texas coming up. Maybe you should talk a little bit about that.
It'll be August 2nd through 5th in San Marcos, Texas. So it ought to be a very cool and balmy environment there. First week of August in Texas.
Perfect timing.
What could possibly go wrong?
It's in San Marcos, which is 30 miles south of Austin and 50 miles north of San Antonio. So, and Len Pilhofer and his group have done a superb job in getting this organized. Originally this show was supposed to be in 2020, but due to COVID, it got bumped up. But the guys are doing a great job. And so far to date, we've got about 700 registrations. Many of those are vendors who are IPMS members, but we do get a fair number of walk-ins. Registration online will end on 6:30, but you're more than welcome to walk in. We've got, I'm just reading from some notes so I get it correct. We have 58 vendors there, 270 tables.
Wow.
And our gold sponsor this year is Tamiya, which we're very excited about, because they haven't, there's been a lot of restrictions from Japan about coming over to the US. So the last couple shows is, they haven't had too much of a presence, and that's understandable. But it's open. Registration opens Wednesday the 2nd from 10 a.m. And everybody who registers, the only thing they're waiting for is when the vendor room is going to open.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
I mean, it's like a herd of wildebeest that go into there.
Yep.
So that opens at 1 p.m. and then it'll be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have our banquet on Saturday evening. Our contest, which is always a big thing. We have about 1,200 models every year.
Yeah.
And 180 categories. And we got about 270 judges, which is quite a task.
Yeah, but it's important you have those volunteers. That's always a challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
We have 16 seminars, and we have 3 workshops. One is by Brex. They do a terrific airbrush seminar. And that's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for 4 hours. Rick Lawler does a great seminar in diorama-based design. Will be 3 days, 4 hours, and then we've got one figure painting class by Bob Bethea and Henry Nunez, which is going to be about 9 hours. So, yeah, we're this is really looking forward to this. And we have 2 tours. One is to the in Fredericksburg, Texas. It's the National Museum of the Pacific War.
Yeah.
And the reason it's there, I mean, who would think of middle of Texas for the Pacific War? But that's a home of Admiral Nimitz.
Good reason.
And yep. And then there's another tour down at Lewis Air Legends in San Antonio, and they have a couple dozen vintage aircraft. And it's closed to the public now, but we're going to get special access and access to the hangars.
Right.
So it's a full week.
You know what? And it's a lot of people come every year and they love it. I know one of your other board members and my fellow podcaster, David Knight, he just looks forward to it every year. It's the absolute highlight of his year. He gets pumped. We had him up here at one of our large Canadian shows, him and Mike from Plastic Model Mojo, and they had an absolute ball. But you know, he says, other than that, you know, he says, I really look forward to it every year.
Absolutely. It's a great event. And, you know, it's interesting because last year was my first year as president and I didn't know what to do, but I had the best time meeting people. I mean, my whole goal is just to meet people.
Yeah.
And so it was, it ought to be interesting this year meeting people, but I think it's going to work out pretty good.
I think you're going to be fine. I think, as you say, people are good, and I think it's going to be, you know, absolutely wonderful. So what's the website for people if they want to find out more about this?
It's NATS, NATS 2023.com.
Okay.
So NATS2023.com.
All right.
And
go ahead.
I just want to let people know, you know, our base hotel, the Embassy Suite that's connected to the convention center, sold out in minutes when it popped up. But we have a lot of other hotels in the area, and I tell people register and they cancel at the last minute.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged. Check the website, check the local hotels, and you might be pleasantly surprised. But we will have shuttle services between the hotels.
Excellent tip.
So it's going to be a great event.
I think, you know, and people I do know, they bring an extra empty suitcase.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was telling David Goldfinch that, you know, when I come home from these, you know, I don't want to get in trouble buying too many models. But I had a habit of just putting a used raffle ticket on the model and telling my wife I wanted a raffle.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh no,
Slado.
You're not supposed to. Now it's out, man. Sorry. Yeah. She might be on to you.
Yeah, she figured it out pretty quick when she looked at the side of the box and there was a price tag. So
yeah, damn it. Well, see, I like to say I'm fortunate because my wife knits, so she has her own stash. So yeah, exactly. We just, you know, we say sneaking the latest purchase past the
I'd also note for late people coming into hotels, call the actual hotel.
Absolutely.
Because if you just go to an online site, it may not show anything, but
correct.
They may have it.
Excellent.
Good point. Excellent point.
Now, the other thing I wanted to briefly mention is that, you know, even though we're not through 2023 yet, 2024 NATS is going to be up closer to Canada, up in Wisconsin.
Absolutely. I can't wait for Madison.
Yeah, Madison. Now, I think I read something. Did I read something? The locations changed slightly. They had to change locations.
We did, but until we have the official signed contract, we don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay. All right.
I think people are going to be very pleased with the new location.
Excellent.
And Madison is a great city. It's just a beautiful city.
It's at the Capitol Brewery Beer Garden. That's where it is,
absolutely.
Right? I'm there.
If you like,
I'm sure
if you like beer and cheese.
Yeah, I'm sure the Plastic Model Mojo will be very happy to hear that. That'll be their base. We always joke about it. Wonderfest. There's a lot of Canadians go down to that. And join Terry down there, including my other podcast host and a few guys in the club. And we always have the Canadian embassy, a suite of rooms and that. And we've made Terry an honorary Canadian for that.
Too many cigars though. I can't stand.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing. Yeah, they like the cigars, so we throw them outside. But no, so yeah, that's going to be exciting as well. So. All right. Is there anything else you want to add, David, before we let you go?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. It was a pleasure meeting you folks. And if you're not going to make Texas, I look forward to seeing you in Wisconsin.
We're certainly hoping to make Wisconsin. At least I am, and I know those troublemakers from Australia are going to be back there again.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's in my backyard. So.
Yeah, that's in your backyard. So Terry's going to be hosting us, I'm sure.
Yeah, Nationals are. Man, I don't mind missing them because they're an expensive show for me.
Yeah, well, it's a show for everyone, right? Exactly. I know there has to be spousal negotiations in my case.
Yes.
There's certain big yarn shows, and like down in New York State, Matt, she wants to go to now that COVID's over. So, it's not just saving for NAS, it's saving for the other shows too, as we all know, those of us who are married understand.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, definitely. So as I said, we're going to have this out as part of our regular rotation on the weekend, but we're also going to air it over the next couple of days. We will have links to some of the stuff we've mentioned here in our show notes for people at scalemodelpodcast.com. And don't forget to also there, we're going to have, it's IPMSUSA.org is the website. And anytime you want to come back on or member the board or your new social media coordinator, please feel free to reach out. We're always happy to have IPMS, members of IPMS organizations around the world on the podcast.
Excellent. Very good.
All right. And so we will end that there. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, gentlemen. I think that was an absolutely great interview. He was honest, forthcoming. And it sounds like there's going to be some change afoot. Jeff, what do you think?
I think I think you have to look at these events and try to figure out what's the good thing that came out of it. And to me, the good thing that came out of it is an awful lot of discussion and some very thoughtful responses on the Facebook groups from IPMS USA members and non-members who came up with a lot of comments that I think the IPMS executive will take into consideration based on what Dave was saying. It sounds like they're already doing that. I think he would admit that he had some unfortunate choices in language and was not able to get across what he was trying to get across, which was essentially a plea to try to join IPMS USA. I think lessons learned, move on, and good for him for going to Nats and standing in the dunking booth. Good for him.
Well, and I basically said he's got a good board willing to work with him. So I think it's good. Terry, how about you?
Yeah, these aren't things that are new. We've been talking about this. Everyone's been talking about this. Like I say, if an organization isn't growing, if it isn't adapting, it's going to die. If you just let yourself become complacent, you're not going anywhere. And I don't think that the hobby is losing members. I think organizations may be losing members. But we see shows with record numbers of entries and entrants. So people are coming out. It's just getting them involved. And that's the same of any organization, professional organization, social organization. You got to keep people engaged. Or, if it's, we do adoption stuff with the dogs, and it's like, and the events are like, they're always the same. They're always just the meetups and trying to doing silent auction or something to get some money out of it, but there's nothing new.
Yeah.
I don't think the contest needs something new, but I think you have to adapt to the online organization and somehow make that invitation clear and bring people in and show them why they should be a part of an organization.
Very
I think that's absolutely true. One of the things, when I read his piece, it started out as being, okay, well, I get asked this all the time. Why should I join IPMS USA? And we get asked that from time to time, IPMS Canada, and there are a number of answers to it. But when it comes right down to it, if you're just talking about what do you want to spend your money on, there are going to be guys who say, well, frankly, I don't need to spend my money on a membership in that organization. I don't need to get a magazine. I can see it all online, and that's where I get my stuff. And frankly, I think there's a huge sort of section of the modeling community that is not related to IPMS in any jurisdiction.
That's true.
And there are great modelers, there are average modelers, there are introductory modelers. And for years, I was not a member of IPMS Canada. It took me a long time before I finally got up the guts to join. And that, to me, it was guts, because I was never much of a club guy. I always modeled kind of on my own, and I get that. I get that whole community. But I must say that having joined IPMS Canada since then, my skills have improved. I've made a lot of friends, and I've really, really enjoyed this hobby a lot more, with a lot less stress in a way, because I've been able to sort of get help and talk to people who can show me where I've done well and what I can do better.
Well, and you've also had aftermarket companies now following your lead. You build something, next thing you know, Belcher comes out with a aftermarket set.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, his coming out with it spurred me on to finish my project. That's more than anything else. One of my stories, I forgot to mention this. One of my stories got published in IPMS Canada's online thing. So
see, he's a writer now too. You know what? I agree with both of your points, and and people, regular listeners of the show, hear us chirp about this all the time. The hobby is not dying; it is evolving, and organizations have to evolve too. And it's very difficult because people have to remember these are all volunteer organizations. Nobody's getting paid. The only person gets paid, IPMS USA. They're such a large organization. They do have an office manager / secretary who they do pay, but that's it. The president doesn't get paid. None of the board members, none of the people who run the shows, stuff like that, no one gets paid. And that's the same in IPMS Canada, IPMS UK. And a lot of the times, and as to what Jeff said, I was really pleased to see people were making complaints, but they were also giving suggestions on how it could be improved. Quite often, you always get some people who just want to complain, and they don't offer new things, or they don't want to step up. And it's, what, I get it. It's a challenge. Even at our own club, every year we do elections. It always seems to be a little bit of a challenge. But people
a little bit,
yeah, exactly. But you know what? It's the same in organizations everywhere. So if you want to help drive that change, you have to take part, or at least, try and contribute in some way. And that's part of the secret. So I was really pleased. It was a really good, positive interview, and hopefully, it does drive some change. There were some interesting things we discovered, and I think it'll be interesting to watch further ahead. So definitely well worth the time. And again, kudos to Dave for agreeing to come on after that. He didn't have to. I reached out to him after the article was posted, because I think it was a fair thing to do. We need to get the word out. And again, the organizations, it may not be, as you said, it may not be for everyone, but I think there's still a lot of use in them.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, I strongly support IPMS, not necessarily for what it is, but for what it could be. I think there's a great future for a larger community of modelers to work together, and it doesn't all have to be just sort of through YouTube or TikTok or whatever the hell it is.
Okay, old man.
Yeah, Dave says he's an old man. I think I beat him. But it's the color of my hair that surprises me.
Yeah, exactly. You're actually undead, aren't you? You're a vampire.
I'm a vampire. Yes, there's a picture hidden in my attic somewhere.
Oh, right. Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly. All good. Okay.
Kudos to Dave for having the guts to face up, and get engaged and listen, and that's the takeaway.
Good to see. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we'll hear some more, and we've invited them back whenever they want. And same with the other podcasters. So, okay, what's on the bench? Well, then there's me. I'm trying to get the bullfighter done for the 148 scale one for the Let's Get Pacific group build, but I've been busy planning a club show, a lot of real life tasks. And then what didn't help was I've got it all painted, gloss coated, ready for decals. And then I cannot find one of the internal landing gear bays that goes into the engine. So for now, it's here somewhere. I saw it before. It hasn't disappeared as far as I know. There's no micro wormholes as far as I know in my workbench. So I'm going to continue. I know. And I only got one more day because it's the 30th. It's got to be done by. So I'm going to try and get decals done tomorrow, and then I might have to be creative on how I display it, because I'm only going to be able to stick one landing gear on. So I may have to check with someone at Model Airplane Maker to see if I can get away with it. Check with Chris.
No, just do it. These are pictures.
These are pictures.
Yeah, fill it with epoxy putty and stick it in there.
Creative. Well, no, as I said earlier before we went to air, I'm thinking when to build a 148 jack, and I'll put the one side up on jack, and look, they're working on the landing gear.
You're complicating it. Just put one wheel on and take an eraser about this size and stick it under the other wing, and you're just good.
Be creative. The fact that you have one ready makes me wonder.
I use it in all my pictures.
Even the Musaru Cup. Shh, don't say that.
That's anyway. The 48. That's the 48 scale kit, right?
Yeah, the bullfighter.
Yeah, too bad. I built that with gear up.
Yeah, I mean,
it was like 25 years ago.
No, you know what? It's been a great kit. It goes together well, and I've learned some new things. But yeah, it just pisses me off because it was there. It was in a separate little thing. It was primed and painted, and I looked the other day and there's only one. I was like, what the?
Well, you know what'll happen. You're gonna get the decals on. Take the picture. Send them up.
A month from now, I'll find it. I know, totally. No work on the what is it? The Ferret, the MiG 27, MiG 37, whatever. I haven't really done anything on that. And then the other thing taking my time, and it's all Jeff's fault, is I've been reading. Finally, Jeff got a copy of Shattered Sword: The Untold Story of Midway. Jeff, I remember reading about this book about 15 years ago. And I remember at the time it was quite the thing. And I said, I got to get reading that. And I never did. And I'm about halfway through it. My God, it's a good read.
Isn't it great?
Yeah. The authors finally got access to the Japanese archives. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff that you realize that Japan made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't just luck. And like even obvious things that I should have gone, yeah, that makes sense. Like, why would they schedule the Aleutian raid as a diversion, but had it at exactly the same time they were going to do the Midway raid? Little things like that. And it is a great book. Very clear. The authors have done an absolutely fabulous job. So I'm really enjoying it, and I highly recommend it. I'll find an Amazon link and I'll throw it up on the show notes. Definitely recommend it. I haven't read some historical stuff in a while, and I'm really glad that Jeff mentioned it. But
I picked that up at the Greenwood Military Base Museum in Nova Scotia in their free books to take away table. By donation. And so I made some donations, and I started reading that, and I got hooked.
Oh, I know. It's so easy to, and like I said, I read the biography of a while back at the one about Guadalcanal, the pilot that shot down a certain admiral.
The one who claimed to, or the one who actually probably did?
Exactly. And they kind of go behind the scenes on both of those, and you realize the good admiral, he wasn't as honorable as people you think originally. Like he had a geisha, he had a fling on the side, left his wife all the time, and again, fascinating stuff you don't necessarily read. So I've really been enjoying kind of getting back into these, because I'm trying to reduce my time on some of the other social media, so this fills in the gap nicely. So so that's where I am. Did a lot of work on our show website over the weekend in preparation for TourCan, because we have a lot of people down there, and so there we go. Jeff, how about you, sir?
Well, I think I may have mentioned on a previous show that one of our club members is a member of, I think, 427 Wing, which is a social group for military and non-civilian airplane pilots and people associated with it. It started as an RCAF, Royal Canadian Air Force group. And anyway, one of their members donated, either passed away or something, and they donated all of their collection of built-up model kits. And he was trying to see if he could get people to donate money to take a kit, just to help build up the coffers of 427 wing. So amongst these things were a ton of really obscure, weird resin aircraft, and so I wound up getting about 12 of them, and made an associated donation. But I've just been having a lot of fun stripping these things, and then trying to find ways. It's almost like it's a separate hobby in itself. He grabbed a 148 Lancaster, which had been built up, and the person who built these, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't a particularly a good modeler, and so they're all hand painted. And the seams haven't necessarily been filled and sanded or anything like that. So stripping them, cleaning them up, taking them apart, and trying to bring them back together. This other club member, he described it as adopting puppies, and he loved it. You're bringing them to a new home, and you're trying to make them look as nice as you can. And
who actually said that?
Pablo.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can see Pablo saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and very good modeler. But so that's what I've been doing. I've been just playing around, trying to find ways to strip these things and make something decent out of them, and quite enjoying it. I'm really quite enjoying it. Cool. One of the other guys, another person did a piece, and I think you've linked to it, about modeling for pennies.
Yep. We're going to cover that in the. That's our buddy Chris. Yep, modeling for a buck or two. Yeah,
modeling for a buck or two, and those are good suggestions. And one suggestion he didn't raise, and I thought probably people should think about more, is taking some of these old built-up kits of obscure kit. These are models that haven't been produced in ages, and a lot of them are resin. Like, here, I got an Avro car. Nobody has these things, and it's a beautiful resin casting. Just a matter of cleaning the paint off, clearing them up, and redoing them, rebuilding them. It's not that bad, and that's definitely an inexpensive way to do some of these things. So anyway, just throwing it out there.
Yep. It was good. But other than that, you've been doing grandfather stuff, right?
Mostly grandfather stuff. My son-in-law, one of my son-in-laws, flew back to Scotland for 9 days and left my daughter with their 2 kids under 4 for that period of time. And rather than see the kids die or my daughter die from suicide, we moved in and helped take care of everything while he was gone.
What about your son-in-law?
His body hasn't been found yet.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, okay. Just checking. But if he came back, I hope he brought you back a bottle.
Yeah, no, that was another failure of judgment. But
there you go. No wonder he's in the ground somewhere. Or in the lake, whatever. Yeah, exactly. I get it.
No, he's been apologizing. He's not doing the apology tour, so that's a good thing. You learn lessons at every stage in life.
They do. Excellent. All right, Terry, what you been up to, my friend? Oh yeah, there's a model contest coming up in less than a couple of weeks.
Yep, Wonderfest coming up soon. I've got a bunch of stuff from Mark Youngblood's collection I'm trying to get rid of. I've had them for way too long. So I finally got the posts out and see if we can move them. But I should be done with the fine molds Mitsubishi Babs by the time this airs. I've been really slow at the finishing line here, but I'll cross the line before the race ends. Also been cleaning up the little 3D prints of the Aldrin class from my buddy Will Barton. They'll have a few of those at Wonderfest printed off to sell.
That's excellent, because that's a great looking kit. If photos you had, that really looks awesome.
Yeah, that's nice.
It really is. I've had, and there's issues with the lights crap, but there's issues with 3D printing. You got all this nice detail, but you got to sand around it.
Yeah.
Well, on some of these bits, I'm like, I just removed it and I'm going to rebuild it.
Right.
Not necessarily exactly the way it is. I've got some other ideas I want to do. And I got a paint scheme I want to do for it. And at the last meeting, I picked up some colored paints that I don't typically use a lot of.
Oh, bright
So,
colors.
yeah. So,
Cool.
and I know what I want to. I'll talk to Gus Snipes over at GCals and have a registry made for it.
Excellent.
I'm very interested in this. I have. It's going to be fun.
I'm looking
It's
forward.
going to be a challenge.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing, send some more pictures in progress. And
You need a challenge, right?
Exactly.
You got to have a challenge.
Good
Gotta have a
fun.
challenge.
Good fun. And you've been reading too, I see.
Yeah. I finished up Tom Cleaver's second book in his early Pacific Air War. This one focused on, essentially on the Guadalcanal and island hopping and all that stuff.
I'll have to add that to my reading list.
Yeah, and when you say mistakes were made, and mistakes are made, and nobody was ready, the United States was certainly not ready for this sort of activity. The Navy knew it was coming, so he covered that in the first one. Building up their pilot corps, their officer corps, and such. But everything from the Corsairs that we mentioned early on, not being carrier ready. They were too bouncy. Mm-hmm. They would hit hard and bounce off, and you couldn't see and all that. So the Marines got this probably best of the world class fighter early on, right. And those and the Wildcats broke the Japanese naval and army air force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They literally broke them. By the time the Hellcat showed up, which was ahead of its game, maybe not ahead of its game, but certainly the best carrier fighter until they got the Corsair figured out. But they're very different planes. Mm-hmm. But the Hellcat pilots, whether they transitioned in from Wildcats or whatever, they were fighting the second and third rankers.
Right.
Guys that I forget the pilot, one of the Saburo Sakai had said that they failed pilots, right. Worse, better than the guys they were sending later on.
Yeah.
Right. He goes that it was just tragic because none of these kids were going to survive.
Right. No. Well, no way the Japanese aircraft design, no armor, no. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it. I mean, that wasn't even complacency. They just didn't have the capacity.
Yeah, exactly.
They knew their planes were good in 1939, 1940. Not so good in 1942, and they knew that was going to happen. And then by 44 and 45, they were hopeless.
Well, I will add both those books to both his books to my reading list too. Definitely.
Yeah. So it's not just about the Air War; it's about the whole thing. And the third book, I'm going to have to start reading here.
There's a third one. Okay, I will.
Yeah, and
those.
To your point, Tom. Yeah.
Tom Cleaver under the sun.
Yeah, he's got so many. And to your point, he goes back original sources, the original people. He's been friends with people forever, and he's writing about people that he's known for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be good. I'm going to have to look up. I'm going to have to look up the.
I'd send it to you, but this one I read on Kindle.
That's okay. It's okay. I'll find it. We'll find it. We got libraries in that here, so it's all good. We are civilized, up here in the North. We even read occasionally, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I actually enjoy reading once in a while.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Get away from a screen, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. There's a good book about Wake Island. I'll find the title for you. Okay. It's probably a good companionship to Midway. Talk about great leadership of an under-resourced facility fighting off the Japanese. The Wake Island is a great story.
Very cool. Very cool. So, all right. Well, we'll link those two as well.
We're going to turn this into the Military Book Club podcast.
I don't know that any of the other ones are talking about books, so we should talk about books.
We should.
There you go.
All right.
Well, a fun autobiography is Eric Winkle Brown, War in a String. Eric Winkle Brown is one of the greatest test pilots ever.
Yes.
I thought you were going to mention. There's a book called "Give Me Back My String Bag." about the swordfish pilots.
Swordfish.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's a great one.
I got a 48 scale to me on the stash. I got that from the Goodwill sale. It keeps staring at me. So
rigging.
I know, and that's exactly what's keeping me away from it.
That was rigid wiring. So
I know,
but there are sets available that will help you with that. That's a lot easier.
You get the flat metal. Flattened metal. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our good friend Sean's Custom Model Tools. He was at TourCan. He had a good time, and let's talk about him a little bit. Here we go. Now we're going to talk a bit about Sean's Custom Model Tools, one of our other sponsors of the Scale Model podcast. Some very cool things, both 3D printed and the Goodman Super Sanding Blocks. Let's start with the Microset and Microsole decal set bottle stand. This is purposely designed for the microscale set and sole. Most modelers over the years, they've tipped these bottles over. So this is a very handy thing. At $14.95, you can put them both together. They're printed in blue and red for easy identification. Comes with a black base, and they actually have little magnets on it, so helps keeps them in place. Definitely a good deal. I use mine all the time, and I can well recommend them. Let's talk a bit about those Goodman Model Super Sanding Blocks, namely the Value Pack Combo for $28.99. You get the 80 grit, 180 grit, 220, 320, 400, and 600. Just an amazing set, just what you need. And you can also, if you want, you can also get a super sanding block stand for it, which also really makes life a little bit easier, helps things keep it organized. The other thing too is they have the awesome model tape dispenser for your various tapes. It's basically a 3D printed thing. You put spools of your tapes. It's got a little razor blade to help cut it, and it's really, really good design. So yeah, works out really well, and yours for $19.95. So check out these and other amazing deals at Sean'sCustomModelTools.com, and also on Facebook, and tell them that the Scale Model Podcast sent you. All right, that's always good.
That's great. Did Sean bring his magnificent beard?
Apparently he did. That's what the rumors say. Always. Okay, and then we're going to have an interview lined up with our good friends at Wonderfest. But I think what I'll do is, if they actually do it tomorrow, we'll just cut out this whole bit and we'll just go right from the ad. All right, things we've seen. So yeah, we were just talking about this. Modeling for a Buck or Two. Our good buddy from Model Airplane Maker, Chris, had this recent blog post and got some cool ideas. We also had at our local club meeting, we had some tips. So he talked here about stretch sprue, gap filling, and the one I love the most, and I do it, do yourself a favor, polishing sticks. Head over to a Buck or Two, or here in Canada, Dollarama, and get yourself one of these like 9-sided buffers, basically. It's like $3.
It's a nail buffer.
It's a nail buffer. It's like 6-7 steps that got 6 different grits, and they're awesome.
Yeah, some of those can't handle wet sanding though, so be careful.
But
for
$3,
they aren't good for wet sanding, and you have to be really careful because of the edges, because it's the different grit grades roll around the edges a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're sanding, you might get a heavy grit line, so you have to be really careful.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool. And there's also gap filling. Fill large gaps of styrene and topping them off with a touch of super glue. And then, of course, stretch sprue. We all used to make antennas out of this back before aftermarket.
Yes.
So, yeah, check out Chris's stuff. And, like I said, he's just about finished the Let's Get Pacific group build as well. Okay, the next one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so part of the thing in the interview, you heard me mention this. But did you know there is a massive review site out there that I have not been aware of before? It's actually a review committee at IPMSUSA.org, so IPMS USA, under reviews.ipmsusa.org. And members there do reviews. And this has been going on since 2009, I believe. Yes, January 2009. So they're up to over 1,984 pages with multiple reviews per page. And these include photos and stuff like that. And one of the things we mentioned to Dave is he's got to get this out there. This is a huge resource that I've never seen in search engines, so I don't know why, but it is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. I don't know if it's available via the search. I haven't gone that far, but it includes books and more books and model kits, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just flipping through it while you're talking. You need to you need to know what you're looking for in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You need to type into the search engine something that's going to get you close to what you want.
Well, yeah, and I'm hoping they improve their search engine. But let me just try B17 review.
Oh my God, you're gonna get overwhelmed.
I know, but I just
typed in Mustang and it went on for like 10 pages.
Yeah.
But you know what? There is some stuff you can see right away if it's a review or not. But again, just troll through it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people knew about this. I asked some other people before we went to air, and about half of them had no idea this existed. And these are experienced modelers. Like, these are guys who've been around. So there's another good reason to look at IPMS USA. This is great. Absolutely fabulous. And then, of course, we do mention, we mentioned NATS, so nats2023.com. I put that in. And then Terry's added GCals. This is the company you were talking about, right?
Yeah, I just added the link to GCals. Gus's mostly science fiction stuff, a lot of Trek stuff. Cool. And he will do custom registries, custom stuff for you.
You can do the USS Lynn, Jeff, for your wife. Make her a spaceship.
Oh, definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, she'll be very happy. She may roll her eyes, but she'll be very happy.
Yeah, including all the Aztecing
nice.
And everything else.
Yeah,
if you want to do your Aztecing via decal.
Reasonable value. Yeah. 537 scale refit for the Miranda, $15. Yeah.
Yep, tons of stuff.
Ambassador class decal set with lifeboats. When you have an Enterprise,
there's a challenging scheme.
Yeah, I was reading someone on one of the sci-fi groups. He's been working on one, and he was asking the question, is like the phaser strip supposed to be off center? I'm not sure if I should mask or paint. And some people gave him some good advice, and then in the end he said, okay, the next time I'm masking. It worked
tough.
Well. It worked.
Somebody had asked when we were judging or something how they did that, and it's like, well, on this one they're using decals. Well, that's easier. It's like, it sounds easier.
Yeah.
Until you have to lay down the wallpaper decaling.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. So it's like, they're both equally difficult to do.
But like I said, just the way the builder was doing it, he was kind of going tongue in cheek, and it was good. It was nice, and then, like I said, a couple of days later, you saw, okay, I did this. Now I'm going to do it the other way next time.
Yes.
So it was good as well. And again, that's the camaraderie and stuff like that. That's what we need more in this hobby. So, all right. Anyone else have anything else before we talk about our good friends at Return to Kit Form?
I'm still going down this rabbit hole of Star Trek thing.
We've lost Jeff. We've lost Jeff again. Now, don't forget, Jeff. We do have Anthony and Terry going down there. Do you want them to FaceTime you with the
no, I don't.
I do. No, I know. I'm the same. I know it'd be way too. I got 2 Valkyries apparently coming in from Neo Tokyo soon. Peter said they're on the way. On the ship. So, I got enough things I got to buy. And of course, Arma's 148 scale Hurricane. Yeah, I know. I got more stuff to build. And then, of course, Musaru Cups coming up. So who knows what they're going to torture me with there. So,
well, you probably won't hear about that until like July, August anyway, right?
Well, it's usually at NATS. They announced it at NATS last time when they were
did
there.
They?
Last year. Remember they had one of the guys go down, and this is when I thought Dave Knight was winding me up, because I thought he arranged to say, oh look, it's right up my alley. But no, that's what they got. So that's when they announced it, and they sent the email at the same time. So we'll probably hear about it there. They have I think they have to ask who's going to do it, who the victims are, and I think that's how they decide. How can we wind up this person, and this person?
It'll be a creature. It'll be a creature model. Maybe one of the older.
I think it's going to be a ship. I think it's going to be a ship with bloody photo etch.
Yeah,
and the creature. The creature wouldn't be bad. If it's a bust, well, we lose already. But that's all right. So we will end this. So we're also sponsored by our good friends Brett and Chrissy at Return to Kit Form. Check out their web store, return2kitform.com. He's working on some more masking sets for some new Valkyries coming out soon. So he's always busy there. Your best choice for Valkyrie mask sets. Terry and I both hope he does some more for some of the newer ones. We'll have to leave him an email about that, Terry. But yeah, he's a very good guy as well. You never know what else he comes up with. So more modeling goodness. Check out the other modeling podcasts at modelpodcast.com. I am still revising the site there. I haven't done the other links because, life happened. I'm surprised Kentucky Dave and Kentucky Mike hasn't wound me up yet. I'm sure he will. But I will get that done soon as well. So, all right. So for episode 118 of the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
I'm Jeff Hyland.
I'm Terry Measley, reminding you not to get complacent.
Oh, nice.
Well done. Thank you.
And go to Wonderfest.
And go to Wonderfest. Yes.
You got it.
You know what? If you play your cards right, Terry or Anthony may autograph a body part for you. So, thank you, and